They are both individually gorgeous and appealing A-list stars who have zero chemistry with each other. Like none.
To the moon, Alice. No, not that, but this. Fly Me to the Moon, another very pricey Apple movie making its way into theaters first. It's a period comedy with Channing Tatum and Scarlett Johansson. Tell us about it.
Excuse me? What are you doing here?
I tracked you down because I felt we had a connection.
What?
I'm joking. I work here now to sell the moon.
It is so many different kinds of movie at once. And you would think that its lengthy running time of 2 hours and 12 minutes could accommodate all the many different kinds of movie going on here. But no, they're all kind of stuffed in awkwardly. You guys subscribe to us here at Breakfast All Day. We're hanging out all summer long, doing big stuff and small stuff and everything in between. Movies that are coming out in theaters and streaming, and wherever there's a movie, we'll probably end up seeing it. So come and hang out with us. Yes, so Scarlett Johansson and Channing Tatum star in Fly Me to the Moon. They are opposites who butt heads, but wouldn't you know it, they're probably also going to fall in love against the backdrop of the moon landing. This is, for a while, very much aiming for Rock Hudson, Doris Day style, zippy, retro, snappy banter. She is a Manhattan ad executive who is a cool liar and charismatic as hell and knows what to say in every situation to be whoever she must. And that's actually the most interesting part of this movie. Scarlett Johansson is on and she's like Don Draper in a pencil skirt.
Yeah.
And working it. It's a lot of fun. Charismatic as hell. Quick shout out to the amazing costume designer, Mary Zoffreys, longtime Coen Brothers collaborator, Mary Zoffreys, who has chosen so many cool things for everyone to wear here. I love it. Like Scarlett Johansson's assistant has like these cute little like bright floral mini dresses, like spot on. Woody Harrelson is this shadowy government figure who approaches Scarlett Johansson's Kelly one day to say, hey, we want you to come and sell the moon mission to the nation. The interest has waned in it and the politicians don't want to fork over money for it anymore. And you got to make it seem sexy and exciting. So she goes to Florida to do that very thing, where she initially kind of meets cute with Channing Tatum's Cole, who is a former amazing superstar Korean War pilot who should have been an astronaut himself. He is all business. She is not. What will happen? Their meet cute is like something out of Top Gun, where they like flirt in a diner. And wouldn't you know it, the next day, we got to work together. This is awkward. They are both individually gorgeous and appealing A-list stars who have zero chemistry with each other. Like none. It's baffling.
I was stunned at that too.
It's strange. So Chris Evans was originally supposed to play this role. And that would have made a whole lot more sense in a lot of ways in terms of like his presence, and he and Scarlett Johansson are really good friends in real life. Part of it though is it's not there on the page. There's a lightness that is missing to this guy that is just not there, and Channing Tatum can't summon it.
There is a lot that doesn't work here. And I think starting with the fact that A, these two have no chemistry, and B, I never bought them as adults in the 1960s. Like there's something so contemporary about them and the way they carry themselves and their behavior. You look at, I mean, not even just looking at films of the period, but you look at something like The Right Stuff or Mad Men or something that is evoking that period. Like, I never believed that Channing Tatum is a Korean War hero, veteran, like super hardcore military of that era. There's just something that's not quite rigid enough. And also, like, you're right, there also has to be that little spark of something that appeals to her that she tries to get out of him, because he's just trying so hard to be like all, you know, buttoned down. None of it's working. Like after about 10 minutes, I was like, okay, I'm going to let the fact that I don't believe them as 60s people go. It's just going to be that kind of movie. But then it wasn't any other kind of movie either.
Because it's many other kinds of movies, though.
So many kinds of movies, yeah. Because on the one hand, it wants to be this like breezy period rom-com and look at the cars and the outfits and the magazine ads or whatever. But then at the same time, it's like he's haunted by the Apollo 1 mission and how those 3 astronauts died on his watch, and she has a dark secret from her past. Right. And then you get into the whole like we got to fake the moon landing just in case, and then maybe even not just in case. And Yeah, this movie is just shooting out in all these directions, and it doesn't land on anything except the moon.
Or does it?
Or
is it all on the sound stage?
Yeah. So this was a real disappointment because I saw the trailer and I'm like, okay, I love this era. I was I was 2 in 1969, but I have some fondness for that period. I loved Apollo 10 and a half, which very much is steeped in this moment, although in Houston rather than in Florida. But man, this movie doesn't work.
It just lurches wildly in tone between like zippy rom-com and then this like political satire, and then it's this weighty drama. The whole thing will just grind to a halt to let them unburden themselves to each other, like to spell out what it is that is troubling each of them in ways that I think we could just have inferred. And it would have made them more interesting. And then it gets, as you mentioned, with the whole thing with the moon landing, the Woody Harrelson guy wants her to fake the moon landing just in case it doesn't work. It gets very convoluted and very confusing as to who's watching what on what monitor.
Yes. Yeah. The whole last act kind of caper aspect of it is baffling to the audience. Like we don't know, if the characters seem to maybe know what they're doing, but they don't, and we don't have any idea what they're doing. So it's not well mounted in that way.
What do you think of Jim Rash as the very flamboyant director?
It's a fun character, and I think it's in the proud tradition of the Hollywood sissy, but he's never I don't think he's the butt of the joke. I think he comes in and orders everybody around, and he's demanding and tetchy and a diva, but it's not like anybody points to him and says, you homo, it's none of that is happening. Like he is master of his domain, kind of like Serge in the Beverly Hills Cop movies, and Rash is gay, so he knows the line to go to, and I thought that he's fun, but the character itself is just at the service of this whole subplot that clunks around.
There's some kind of funny Hollywood references here as far as what his work has been and what he brings to this project, and how he he's walking around with his drinking a tab with a straw. So there's some funny details, and he
Rash
gets to wear
is
some
I am told by Dave, so just a clarification.
Thank you very much. Let's be clear. And he gets some of the most fantastic outfits of all.
Oh yeah,
but that's like its own
coat,
and and lots of scarves, neckerchiefs with pants. So good. So but again, that's a whole other movie, and it just kept ending. It just kept going and going.
Yes,
and I
there's
feel
3 or 4 endings.
3 or 4 endings. It could have ended in a place that was just fine, and maybe left some things to our imagination, and that would have been much more effective than the way it spells everything out over and over and over again. Ray Romano doesn't get to do a whole lot besides just show up and be supportive.
But I at least bought him as a 1960s person,
That is true. So what's your number on Fly Me to the Moon?
Like a 4, I mean, I was there for the production design, if nothing else. I was enjoying that consistently throughout. But otherwise, this movie cannot make up its mind of what kind of film it wants to be, and it's not doing any of them real well.
Yeah, I will say 4.5 for the costume design, production design, and just Scarlett Johansson when she is on and just firing and schmoozing and the razzle dazzle of her character. That's a lot of fun to watch. That movie is fun.
She has been given not the most flattering hairstyle, and I'm sure it's period appropriate, but I think even in the period, that character would have found one that worked better for her.
Anyway, so Fly Me to the Moon is in theaters. It'll be on Apple TV Plus eventually. Let us know if you see it.